more you understand people, the less you listen only to their words. You begin listening to what exists beneath them. The hesitation before an answer, the sudden change in tone, the smile that arrives too late, the compliment that somehow feels like an insult. Most people believe communication is simple. Someone speaks and another person listens. But human beings rarely say exactly what they feel. They speak through fear, pride, insecurity, and desire. Their words may sound innocent, while their emotions reveal an entirely different message. A person may say, "I'm only trying to help you," when what they truly mean is, "I want control over your decision." Someone may say, "You've changed," when the real message is, "You are no longer behaving in a way that benefits me." Another person may criticize your dreams and call it realism, when beneath the criticism is the fear that you might succeed where they never had the courage to try. Once you begin recognizing these hidden messages, conversations are never simple again. You no longer hear only what people say. You hear what they are protecting. You hear what they want. And sometimes, you hear what they are trying desperately to hide. Carl Jung believed that every human being develops a social mask. He called it the persona. The persona is the version of ourselves that we present to the world. It allows us to appear confident when we feel afraid, friendly when we feel resentment, and calm when our inner world is collapsing. A mask is not always evil. Society requires some form of performance. People cannot reveal every thought, emotion, and impulse they possess. But the danger begins when someone forgets that the mask is not their real face. You meet people who have spent so many years performing that they no longer know who they are without an audience. Their kindness depends on being seen. Their confidence depends on admiration. Their morality depends on approval. And their love often disappears the moment you stop fulfilling the role they created for you. When you understand this, you begin noticing something unsettling. Many relationships are not built between two authentic people. They are built between two performances. One person performs strength, the other performs loyalty. One performs love, the other performs perfection. And both secretly fear what would happen if the masks were removed. This awareness changes you. At first, you try to explain what you see. You point out contradictions. You question motives. You ask why people say one thing and do another. But most people do not want their masks examined. They want them accepted. So when you speak too honestly, they may call you negative. When you notice manipulation, they may accuse you of overthinking. When you refuse to participate in a false relationship, they may describe you as cold. Slowly, you begin speaking less. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you understand that truth is not always welcomed by those who depend on illusion. You start observing instead of reacting. You notice who celebrates your success and who becomes strangely silent. You notice who respects your boundaries and who punishes you for having them. You notice who asks about your pain because they care, and who asks because they want information. And with every pattern you recognize, a small distance begins forming between you and the world around you. You can still laugh with people. You can still sit in crowded rooms. You can still participate in conversations. But something has changed. You are no longer fully inside the performance. You are watching it. And once you begin seeing the messages behind the words and the faces behind the masks, it becomes difficult to return to the comfort of not knowing. That is where the loneliness begins. Not when people leave your life, but when you realize how few people were ever truly present. Once you begin seeing people clearly, something unexpected happens. You stop judging individual moments. Instead, you begin recognizing patterns, and patterns are far more revealing than words. Anyone can be kind once. Anyone can apologize. Anyone can appear generous when other people are watching. But patterns never lie. A person who constantly interrupts others is telling you something about how they value themselves. Someone who only contacts you when they need something is revealing the true nature of the relationship. A friend who disappears during your failures but suddenly returns during your success is communicating far more through timing than through conversation. The more aware you become, the less surprised you are by people's actions. You start predicting them. Not because you possess some extraordinary intelligence, but because human behavior is remarkably repetitive. Fear creates predictable reactions. Jealousy creates predictable behaviors. Insecurity creates predictable words. Most people repeat the same emotional habits for years without ever noticing them. And once you recognize those cycles, you begin feeling as though you're reading the same story over and over again. Only the names change. One of the biggest changes awareness brings is silence. Not the silence of weakness, the silence of understanding. There comes a moment when you realize something uncomfortable. Most people are not listening to understand you, they're listening for confirmation. Confirmation that they're right, confirmation that you're wrong, confirmation that their beliefs don't need to change. This is why so many arguments never actually solve anything. Both people are speaking, almost nobody is listening. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer once suggested that every person views the world through the limits of their own mind. That means many people cannot understand experiences they have never lived. No matter how carefully you explain, no matter how logical your words become, someone determined to misunderstand you will always find a reason. Eventually, you stop wasting energy defending yourself. You realize your peace is worth more than winning another pointless argument. You let people believe whatever they choose. Not because they're correct, but because your time has become too valuable to spend convincing those who have already decided who you are. This is where many people begin feeling isolated. Not because they hate others, but because fewer conversations feel real. You notice how many discussions revolve around appearances instead of truth, status instead of character, validation instead of wisdom. People become obsessed with being interesting instead of becoming genuine. You begin craving conversations that almost never happen. Conversations about fear, purpose, mortality, meaning, the human soul. Instead, you're surrounded by endless small talk. And although small talk has its place, living your entire life inside it becomes exhausting. Carl Jung believed that becoming conscious is one of the hardest journeys a person can take. Because consciousness separates you from collective illusion. You begin questioning traditions, social expectations, popular opinions, even your own beliefs. That process is liberating, but it is also lonely. Because the moment you stop thinking like the crowd begins seeing you as different. Slowly, something changes. You stop fearing solitude, you begin appreciating it. Silence no longer feels empty, it feels honest. For the first time, there is no performance, no competition, no need to impress anyone. Only your own thoughts. Many people avoid being alone because solitude forces them to meet themselves, without distractions, without applause, without masks. But those who accept solitude discover something remarkable. Being alone is very different from being lonely. Loneliness is the pain of missing connection. Solitude is the freedom of no longer depending on constant approval. And once you experience that freedom, you become far more careful about who you allow into your life. Because peace becomes addictive. You realize that not every relationship deserves your energy, not every opinion deserves your attention, not every invitation deserves your presence. Sometimes, protecting your inner peace is the wisest decision you can make. And yet, this growing peace carries a hidden danger. The danger of believing that everyone is fake, and that no one deserves your trust. That is where awareness can quietly transform into something much darker. There is a trap that almost everyone falls into after they begin understanding human nature. At first, awareness feels liberating. You finally recognize manipulation. You stop confusing attention with affection. You learn to identify jealousy hidden behind compliments and selfishness disguised as kindness. For the first time, the world begins to make sense. But then, something dangerous happens. You start expecting the worst from everyone. Every compliment feels suspicious. Every act of kindness seems to have a hidden motive. Every relationship begins to look like another psychological game. Without realizing it, your intelligence becomes a prison. Because once you stop trusting everyone, you also stop allowing anyone to truly know you. Many people mistake this for wisdom. It isn't. It is fear wearing the mask of intelligence. The philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche warned that when you spend too much time looking into darkness, the darkness eventually begins looking back at you. The same thing happens when studying people. If all you search for are lies, eventually, honesty becomes invisible. If all you expect is betrayal, even loyalty begins to look suspicious. Awareness should sharpen your vision, not poison it. One of the hardest truths to accept is that most people are not searching for truth. They are searching for comfort. Truth is uncomfortable. It destroys illusions. It forces responsibility. It demands change. Comfort asks for none of those things. That is why so many people remain inside the same emotional cycles for years. They repeat the same relationships, the same arguments, the same mistakes, the same excuses. Not because they cannot change, but because change requires admitting that the person they have been pretending to be is no longer enough. Carl Jung believed that one of the greatest psychological challenges is confronting the parts of ourselves we hide from the world. He called this the shadow. Most people spend their entire lives running away from it, because facing yourself is infinitely harder than judging everyone else. It is easier to criticize, easier to blame, easier to complain, much harder to transform. That is why awareness often feels lonely. Not because conscious people are superior, but because very few people are willing to question themselves honestly.
As your understanding grows, your definition of friendship changes. You stop counting people. You start valuing depth. One honest conversation becomes more meaningful than 100 superficial ones. One loyal friend becomes more valuable than 1,000 followers. One person who tells you the truth becomes worth more than 10 who constantly tell you what you want to hear. You no longer seek people who entertain you. You seek people who challenge you, who remain when your life becomes difficult, who celebrate your success without secretly competing against you, who respect your silence instead of demanding constant attention. These people are rare, but they exist. And once you meet them, you understand why quality has always mattered more than quantity. Perhaps that is the greatest paradox of understanding people. The more clearly you see human nature, the smaller your circle becomes. Not because you hate humanity, but because you finally understand the difference between company and connection. Being surrounded by people does not guarantee belonging. Being admired does not guarantee love. Being understood by everyone is impossible, and trying to achieve it is one of the fastest ways to lose yourself. There will always be people who misunderstand your silence, who mistake your boundaries for arrogance, who interpret your peace as distance. Let them. Your purpose is not to manage everyone's opinion of you. Your purpose is to remain honest with yourself, because the day you stop performing for acceptance is the day you begin living authentically. The day you stop chasing approval is the day fear begins losing its power. And the day you no longer need everyone to understand you is the day you finally understand yourself. That is the strange price of seeing people clearly. You lose the illusion, But in return, you find something infinitely more valuable: freedom.